Wealth is not hiding from you. Wealth is not avoiding you. Wealth is not reserved for someone else. Wealth is looking for you. Yes, you, exactly as you are right now, not after you become perfect, not after you figure everything out, not after you prove yourself worthy. Wealth does not ask for your resume. It responds to your belief. Most people are running after money like it is escaping from them, chasing it in panic, worrying that there is not enough to go around. But the truth is this: wealth is not something you pursue. It is something you permit. Your life is not controlled by your circumstances. It is commanded by your convictions. The invisible always comes before the visible. What you hold in your mind must arrive in your world. When you speak failure, you plant defeat. When you speak lack, you give it roots. And when you speak abundance, life itself rises to fulfill your word. Wealth is not something you chase from a place of fear and desperation. It is something you attract when your thoughts, emotions, and words come into harmony with abundance instead of lack. When you move through life believing you must fight for everything, you unknowingly create resistance against the very things you desire. Fear-driven effort feels heavy, rushed, and exhausting, and it keeps you stuck in the idea that prosperity is always just out of reach. But when you begin to understand that wealth responds not to panic, but to peace, your entire world starts to shift. The moment you release the belief that money is scarce or difficult, you open the door for it to arrive with greater ease and consistency than you ever imagined. Everything in your life responds to the state within you. If your inner world is filled with doubt, worry, and pressure, your outer world reflects the same themes. But when your thoughts soften into expectation, when your heart relaxes into trust, and when your words affirm success instead of struggle, a new pattern begins to form. Life listens to you at all times. It listens when you complain. It listens when you hope. And it listens most clearly when you speak with calm authority and certainty. The subtle shift from "I'm afraid I won't have enough" to "I know my supply is secure" changes not only how you feel, but what you experience. Attraction is not passive. It is powerful alignment. It is the quiet confidence that does not beg, chase, or argue with life. It is the unshakable belief that what belongs to you cannot bypass you. When you live from this awareness, you no longer measure your worth by your bank account, because you understand that your inner state creates your outer condition. Wealth is a natural outcome of harmony within. It arrives when you stop seeing it as something distant and start recognizing it as a response to your identity. Your words act like commands to existence. Each phrase either builds bridges or burns them. When you describe your life using language of lack, you unknowingly program more of the same. But when you speak abundance, even when circumstances appear unchanged, you are issuing orders to the invisible forces that shape reality. The world rearranges itself around the one who speaks with expectation rather than desperation. True attraction comes from trust, not tension. When you trust, you move differently. You decide differently. You receive differently. Your mind becomes open instead of guarded. Your heart becomes receptive instead of defensive. And your life becomes a channel instead of a battlefield. Then wealth does not feel like a prize you chase, but like a companion that walks beside you. This is when opportunities appear without force, resources arrive without stress, and assistance shows up without being demanded. When your inner language shifts, your outer world follows. You no longer look at money as a test of survival, but as an extension of alignment. And in that alignment, wealth no longer runs from you. It recognizes you. It responds to you. It moves toward you naturally, effortlessly, and inevitably. Every word you speak carries power far beyond sound. Your voice is not merely communication. It is construction. With every sentence, you are laying bricks in the unseen world that eventually become the visible structure of your life. People often underestimate the force of their daily language, speaking casually about money, success, and opportunity without realizing they are giving instructions to reality itself. When you say, "I can't afford this," or "money is always a problem," you are not describing life, you are directing it. Existence listens carefully, with no judgment, and simply obeys. Words spoken again and again become beliefs. Beliefs repeated long enough become identity, and identity always becomes experience. That is why careless speech creates careless results, and fearful language produces fearful conditions. When your words are heavy with defeat, your life feels heavy with delay. But when your words are filled with certainty and confidence, conditions begin to rearrange in your favor. Life does not respond to your wishes, it responds to your declarations. What you say you can or cannot do becomes the boundary, not because it is true, but because it is accepted. Many people unknowingly curse their own progress. They criticize themselves out loud, declare limitation without thinking, and speak failure as though it were a fact. Then they wonder why the same obstacles keep appearing. It is not because they are unlucky. It is because they are consistent with the wrong language. Life simply mirrors your vocabulary. The same mouth that asks for success often destroys it with doubt moments later. But the moment you become conscious of your speech, you reclaim authority over your future. To speak from faith instead of fear is a quiet revolution. It is choosing words that lift instead of limit, affirm instead of attack, and empower instead of imprison. Even when circumstances seem unchanged, the language of belief begins a transformation in the unseen long before it becomes visible in the material world. When you say, "Opportunity flows to me," you are not pretending you are programming. When you affirm, "I am always supported," you are not hoping, you are activating. The unseen responds instantly, even when the evidence takes time to appear. Your words should not describe your hardship. They should command your breakthrough. Speak not what you see, but what you seek. Speak not what is temporary, but what is intended. The tongue is not a reporter of reality. It is a creator of it. The stronger your words, the steadier your life becomes. The calmer your declarations, the faster your environment aligns. When your speech becomes intentional, your life becomes intelligent. You begin to notice how quickly things change when you change the way you speak about them. Doors open where silence once stood. Solutions replace struggle. Progress replaces pause. All because you stopped surrendering authority to fear and reclaimed it through deliberate language. Whatever you allow yourself to say again and again becomes the rule you live under. Choose your words as you would choose seeds for a garden, because you will eventually live inside what you plant. And when your language is rooted in certainty rather than anxiety, your life grows in the direction of confidence, supply, and quiet power. Your beliefs are shaping your future, even when you are not paying attention. They work silently, steadily, like unseen architects designing a structure you will one day be asked to live inside. What you believe about money, opportunity, and success determines the limits of your experience long before reality appears to confirm them. If you secretly expect struggle, you will find reasons to justify it everywhere. If you quietly believe in possibility, you will start noticing doors where others see only walls. Life is always validating what you hold to be true, whether it serves you or not. Most limiting beliefs are inherited, not chosen. They are learned through repetition, observation, and emotion, rather than logic. You may have absorbed stories of hardship from your family or society that trained you to think that wealth is rare, risky, or reserved for a few. Over time, these beliefs become so familiar that they feel like facts rather than assumptions, but familiarity does not create truth. It only creates comfort with limitation. The mind holds tightly to what it knows. even when what it knows is hurting you. The moment you challenge a belief, you interrupt a pattern that may have been running your life for years. When you question false ideas about money and worth, you begin to see how much of your struggle was never about circumstances, but about conditioning. A belief is nothing more than a thought you agreed with long enough, and what has been agreed upon can be changed. You are not required to live inside stories that no longer fit the person you are becoming. When you release the idea that struggle is noble or necessary, you free yourself from a lifetime of resistance. Hardship is not proof of growth, peace can be just as productive, scarcity is not a virtue, and suffering is not a requirement for success. Yet many people unconsciously wear struggle like a badge of honor, believing that ease is suspicious or undeserved. But ease is not laziness, it is alignment, and alignment produces results without exhaustion. As your mind learns new patterns, life reflects them. When you accept that you can succeed without sacrifice and prosper without pressure, your choices shift. You begin to act from confidence instead of survival. You stop chasing approval and start trusting direction. And in that trust, unexpected opportunities appear not because life changed, but because your vision did. Your future does not require permission from your past. Old stories only have power until you stop telling them. Once you refuse to repeat them, they collapse quietly. You are not here to reenact limitations. You are here to rewrite them. And rewriting begins the moment you decide that struggle is no longer your identity. The greatest transformation does not come from working harder. It comes from seeing differently. When you change the lens through which you view money, worth, and possibility, you change what can enter your life. And as each outdated belief dissolves, space is created for something greater to take its place. In that space, abundance grows slowly at first, then all at once, until the future you once thought impossible begins to feel inevitable. Gratitude is far more than polite appreciation. It is a powerful declaration that you trust life to provide more. It is a silent announcement to the universe that you recognize value, and wherever value is seen, more value is sent. When you are grateful, you are not merely acknowledging what is present. You are actively preparing yourself to receive what is next. Gratitude shifts your awareness from what is missing to what is working, and that shift alone changes the entire atmosphere of your life. Many people believe gratitude only makes sense after their problems are solved, but in truth, gratitude is what begins to solve them. When you wait for external change before giving thanks, you delay transformation. But when you give thanks before evidence appears, you activate unseen forces that begin to work on your behalf. Life responds quickly to appreciation because appreciation confirms readiness. It signals that you are open, receptive, and aligned with increase. Gratitude also softens resistance. When you are angry, resentful, or disappointed, your energy is tightly closed. You may ask for more abundance, yet remain emotionally unavailable to receive it. Gratitude opens what frustration closes. It loosens the grip of fear and reminds you that you are supported even when conditions appear uncertain. In moments when everything feels delayed, gratitude becomes the anchor that holds you steady while life rearranges itself behind the scenes. Appreciation transforms ordinary experiences into sources of strength. A simple opportunity becomes a doorway. A small gift becomes proof of greater supply on the way. A minor success becomes confirmation that momentum has already begun. When you treat little blessings as big ones, life upgrades your circumstances without announcement. Gratitude magnifies what it touches. What you value expands. What you honor increases. Even challenges begin to shift under the light of gratitude. When you are thankful despite difficulty, you take power away from frustration and return it to yourself. You remind your spirit that circumstances do not define you. This perspective does not deny hardship. It dissolves its authority. Gratitude teaches you to see the lesson instead of the loss, and the opening instead of the obstacle. And when your perception changes, your experience soon follows. Thankfulness also creates emotional wealth before material wealth ever appears. It fills you with a sense of abundance that cannot be taken away by changing conditions. When your inner world is rich, your outer world begins to reflect that richness in unexpected forms. Peace attracts provision, contentment attracts opportunity, joy invites supply. The more consistently you practice gratitude, the more natural receiving becomes. You stop feeling surprised by good and start expecting it. Your confidence increases, your doubt dissolves, and your patience deepens. Gratitude trains your heart to trust what cannot yet be seen, and when trust is present, delay loses its power. What is meant for you finds its way faster because you are no longer blocking your blessing with worry. The universe does not respond to hesitation, it responds to decision. There is a powerful difference between hoping for a better life and calmly expecting one. Wishing carries uncertainty, but certainty carries authority. When you move through life in a state of quiet knowing, everything around you begins to organize itself to match your inner posture. The unseen world is not moved by desperate requests. It is activated by grounded confidence. When you stand firm in expectation, you send a clear signal that you are prepared to receive. Many people speak their desires with doubt hidden beneath their words. They say they want success, but they do not truly expect it. They desire wealth, but they secretly anticipate disappointment. This inner contradiction slows results, not because life is unwilling, but because uncertainty creates mixed instructions. The universe follows clarity. When your intention is steady and your belief is solid, unseen energy moves without resistance on your behalf. Certainty is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is not demanding, it is declaring. When you claim your good with calm authority, you are not forcing outcome. You are affirming identity. You are stating what you accept as normal, what you allow as possible, and what you expect as natural. And what you accept becomes your standard. When you speak with certainty, your voice carries conviction beyond words. Your posture changes, your choices become bolder. Your patience becomes rooted in trust instead of anxiety. You stop second, guessing yourself and start moving through life like someone who knows they are supported. And that energy attracts results. Life rearranges itself around decision. The moment you mentally settle something, the outer world begins catching up. When you finally say within yourself, "This is for me," doors begin to open without effort. When you decide, "I will no longer live in limitation," resources appear in surprising places. Not because luck has changed, but because you have. Certainty removes delay. Doubt extends waiting. The more decisively you think, the faster you receive. The clearer you become, the less resistance you encounter. Every uncertain thought creates a pause. Every certain thought pushes life forward. The greatest power you can hold is expectation without impatience. When you expect good without demanding its timing, you move into harmony rather than force. Timing is the servant of faith, not the enemy. When you trust the process, you remove tension from the outcome, and what arrives without tension remains without struggle. The universe mirrors your inner authority. If you speak timidly about your future, it responds carefully. If you speak confidently, it responds generously. Authority in thought produces accuracy in result. It shortens distance between request and fulfillment. Stand in calm expectancy, not urgent, not anxious. Just certain, and certainty creates speed. So now you understand the truth. Wealth was never meant to be hunted, begged for, or chased in fear. It was always meant to respond to you. It moves when you move in faith. It accelerates when you speak with authority. It arrives when you align your thoughts, words, and emotions with abundance instead of lack. From this moment forward, let your language change. Let your beliefs expand, and let your gratitude rise higher than your doubt. Trust that unseen forces are already arranging what you cannot yet see. Stand firm in quiet confidence, knowing that what is meant for you is moving toward you even now. Stop searching outward for what begins within. Walk forward not as someone hoping for more, but as someone who expects it. Because when you change within, the world cannot help but change around you. And when you stand in certainty, life answers in overflow.